Hey, and what's up, map making fans? Welcome back to another video. In this video we will be talking about inspiration for map making or anything else you're working on. Then we will hop into CSGO and see all the changes I've done to the map. Inspiration. I have seen a lot of comments around it, I have seen a lot of chatter around it, especially on all the map making forums and also on the Dimitri Discord channel, which I encourage you to join right now. When it comes to creating something, and I mean anything, not just CSGO maps, inspiration plays a really big part in the creative process. Whether you are an architect or a painter or a designer, inspiration is the root of your daily work. Even if we look back at all the classic painters in art history, they all used inspiration. Now, you're probably wondering where to get that inspiration. In my opinion, answering this question is probably a lot more easier than most of us think. I think that inspiration is all around us, and it is the only thing that gives an individual touch to your work. This happens because each person has an individual perception of the world around us. If you want to translate this into CSGO mapmaking or CSGO in general, I probably see Inferno or Nuke in my own way, which is probably different than the next CSGO player. To make my point, we can take a look at two real-life examples. These two paintings here. The one on the left is made by Ruysdael, who's from the Netherlands, which is a really flat country, and the one on the right is made by Valentin Zerov from Russia. Russia being a country with a variety of landscapes. The difference between the two is the positioning of the horizon line. The one on the left has a horizon line in the lower part of the painting, while the one on the right has a horizon line in the upper part of the painting. Bear with me here. What this means is that the two painters have two different perceptions on the world around them, even though they painted sort of the same thing. This being said, inspiration is clearly affected by one's perception. Getting back to mapmaking, let's try to answer the question we asked before: where to get your inspiration? Just look around, think of places you visited, think of places you frequent. Pay attention to the world around you and try to mentally translate them into real game scenarios. Grab your phone and just take some pictures of those places. This is exactly what I did when I first visited Ribe. Ribe is the oldest town in Denmark. And when I first saw it, when I first saw those narrow streets and the beautiful cathedral in the old part of town, it is then that I sort of decided, okay, this would look really cool in CSGO. Another thing you can do is pay attention to movies or music videos or whatever else you see on the internet. Take a look at the sets, take a look at the lighting, take a look at the colors. Then you can just hop online and do some research on what you have seen. Look everything up and just snap some screenshots. Use Google Maps Street View. Street View is your best friend. Hop into Google Street View and just snap print screens of everything that you find interesting. While I'm working on the map, I am constantly revisiting Ribe in Google Street View just to review over and over the architecture and the general shapes, so that I try to stay in those lines while I'm working on the map. But there is a second side to inspiration, which is scenario. I honestly think that a nice looking place isn't necessarily a good CSGO map. A CSGO map needs to have a believable scenario, something that others like to call lore. Just take a look at Inferno. The T's need to blow up a really important gas pipeline in a small village, or Nuke, where the T's need to get in a nuclear reactor and blow the core up. What I'm trying to say is that whatever you choose as inspiration for your map, you have to make sure that you can build a believable scenario around it in which the two sides, CTs and Ts, can just play their part. This needs to be original and fun to play, even though mechanically speaking the two sides always do the same thing. Ts just place the bomb and CTs need to defuse it, while both teams will always try to kill each other. If we take a look at the Dimitri, the map I am working on, Ts need to get in a cathedral and blow that up, and they can do this in two spots. One is the altar and the other one is the catacombs under it. The last thing I want to talk about when it comes to inspiration is consistency. You have to be consistent. If you choose to make a map based on your backyard, don't put a skyscraper in it. Come on. It will just seem out of place. I know War Owl said that it's your map and you can do whatever you want. The problem with this, whatever you want, is that it also has to make sense. That, of course, if you don't want your map to die in the pits of the Steam Workshop. Once you have all of this sorted out, a really nice idea is to create a mood board. To do this, you can use any online free software that can do photo collages. I will be using Adobe Spark. Just upload all your snapshots, your photos and everything into one single composition to see everything as a whole. This way you can get an overall feeling of what you want to create. It is at this point that you can clearly see if something is out of place, which isn't a problem. Just delete it. That's pretty much it about inspiration. I hope I answered some of your questions. If you have any other advice, don't hesitate to leave it in the comment section below. Now it's time to jump into CSGO. Let's take this one at a time. Cathedral interior. Most important update is that heaven is gone. As you can see, you can't see it anymore. But I did keep a small part of it here. And you can access this just by getting up these future stairs here. Like this. Another improvement is the two windows here that connect the main chamber to this back chamber here, which is also now populated with some cover. The thing about these windows is that when terrorists will come through here, this long side into A, they can pop flashes through those windows, which works really well. I tested it. Since we're here in the back room, as you can see, no more ramp because no more heaven. Next thing, I changed the position of this ladder that takes you down into B. Moving on to courtyard, as you can see, the statue is gone, and I added this orange thing. I'm just kidding. This will be a small coffee shop or something. Then I also added these two pillars here, which I want to turn into two statues, and I changed the angle and positioning of this wall here, so just so that it's all cleaner. Last thing, I added these additional rounded elements to the walls and elevated everything a bit, so no more boost here. Let's move into secret. I have fixed this angle here where everyone was getting shot. Previously you had to get down into secret from this position, but now I just did it like this. So when you get into this building, you come down and now the angle is much lower, and this is actually sort of better. It still is a pretty tight angle, but I think it's doable. I think that playtesters tend to call out a lot of spots where they get killed. Probably the first instinct if you do die in the game is to try to blame the level, because it is a working process. But at the same time, I think that you do need places where you get killed easily just to make it harder and fun to master those angles. Let's move on to the bar section. The bar section is sort of the same. I just changed this wall a bit, and I turned the first room into a restaurant layout. So this will be a restaurant once it's all styled. Let's move on to backyard. Backyard is this part here, which takes you to the backside of A. Backyard is sort of smaller. I made this room smaller, and everything is cut off here because I changed the position of the T-spawn. So basically now we have a wall here to cut off this angle here, which was again a pretty death sentence for T's. Now even if CTs will push out here, which is in my opinion pretty dangerous, if they do push out here, as you can see, they have to push all the way out here, up here, where they don't have any more cover to hold this angle. Now let's move on to the most important thing, which is this. And the reason I wanted to talk about inspiration first is to make another point with this element I created here. Recently I have been to Milfart, which is a really beautiful city here, just 20 kilometers away from me, and while driving around trying to get to my destination, I passed under this. When I saw it, the first thing I thought of is, it would be really cool to have like players run through these corridors and have bullets just going through the windows and shatter them. So then what I did is hopped online, looked it up, studied the entire architecture a bit, and then found this other photo, which is just a stock photo of a hallway that has glass on one side and the other. After that, I just jumped into Hammer Editor and did this. Now, I know what you guys will say. Yeah, but you said that the inspiration also needs to make sense. It does. Bear with me. Previously, I said that this building would be apartments. Changed my mind. Basically, the lore of the map will say that this building is actually a small museum, which has another entrance here. Basically, the museum is also part of the cathedral, and that is why they are connected through this glass hallway. Why is it made out of glass? Because tourists, when they do come, enter the museum through here, yeah, they pay or whatever, then move through the chambers and oh yeah, stuff, yeah, blah 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 blah, and then they can actually visit the cathedral from its upper part if they come through this tunnel. So yeah, I hope that makes sense for everyone. Last but not least, I just changed the position of T-spawn, which right now is right here. So if you have played the map or have been there for the playtest, you might recall T-spawn being somewhere here. I still felt that the travel times were sort of long, so I just moved it right here so that everything just happens a lot faster. Just to wrap everything up, I want to go over the general lore around the map. You have seen the mood board I created, so I think that right now for everyone it is pretty clear that the entire region is actually a historical site, which at the moment is a tourist attraction. That is why I will combine all these oldish elements like you can find on Dust 2 or Cobblestone or whatever, with sort of new elements that you can find maybe on Overpass or Nuke. So I'm expecting that the general feeling of the map would be pretty fresh, especially because I combined these two elements. So finally, I can almost say that after one more playtest, I will be launching the beta version of the map, and I will not be working on the layout anymore. Whether it's good or bad, this is the final version. I just want to move on with it. That's about it for this video. We have talked about inspiration and we took a look at the map. Next time I will be talking about reference and difference between inspiration and reference. That didn't make any sense. Anyway, if you got to this point, that means that it wasn't really boring. Make sure you check out all my social media accounts. They are linked everywhere around here, and make sure to join the Discord channel. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. The Dimitri Discord channel is the perfect small community of map makers. Are you a map maker? Do you want to get feedback on your map and test it in a small friendly environment? Join the server. We are a bunch of CSGO lovers and map makers there. Really nice people, always ready to help each other. And the best part is, we also have our own server that we can use to playtest maps. So if you are a map maker or just passionate about workshop maps, make sure to join the channel and get involved with feedback, playtesting, advice, or just come hang out. By the way, when we are not playtesting, the server has this amazing 10-player deathmatch map made by the one, the only, the legend, Timur. Yeah. The IP to the server is in the description. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. I am the Dimitri, and until next time, stay safe, stay inside, and play video games.